to welcome all the dignitaries and the participant development program based on nanoparticle space drug delivery system. We are very proud to announce that this webinar is conducted by Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Technology, MRSPTU Batinda, and sponsored by AICTE Training and Learning Atal Academy. I welcome over the country to join us here and to share their knowledge and vast experiences. We hope this 5-day program will prove to be very helpful for all of us in expanding our knowledge given by the experts of the field. So we are going to start our day with the 12th technical sessions. For this, I requested Director Kumar to please come and introduce our first speaker, Dr. Goel. Sir.
Dear participants, very good morning one and all. On behalf of organizing committee, I welcome you all. So today we are blessed to have with us Professor Amit Goel as our technical expert for this session. I welcome you, sir. Professor Amit Goel currently is the head and dean, Department of Pharmacy, School of Chemical Science and Pharmacy, Central University of Rajasthan, Ajmer. He has more than 15 years of teaching and research experience at postgraduate and graduate level, and worked as a professor and head Department of Pharmaceutics, ISF College of Pharmacy, Moga. Subsequently, he joined as an associate professor at Gujarat Forensic University, Gandhinagar, and after that as a scientist at National Institute of Animal Biotechnology, Hyderabad. Dr. Goel has completed his MPharm and PhD from Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Dr. H.S. Gore University, Sagar. During his PhD work, he has received MP Young Scientist Award 2006 for his research contribution in the designing dried powder vaccines, and also awarded Senior Research Fellowship from DBT for his doctoral work. Dr. Goel is the leading scientist in the field of cutting-edge nanotechnology for site-specific targeted delivery of drug and bioactives. Dr. Goel is an expert in formulation development and delivery of drugs, vaccine, herbal bioactives. For his outstanding research work in the area of pharmaceutical biotechnology and nanotechnology, Organization of Pharmaceutical Products of India, Mumbai, have awarded prestigious OPPIS Scientist Award to him in 2012. He is the recipient of DBT's National Award, Innovative Young Biotechnologies Award from Department of Biotechnology, Government of India, for developing low-cost, non-invasive dried tuberculosis vaccines. He is the members of many professional, national and international societies. He is the scientific member of IAEC, ISFCP, editor of Farm Aspire Journal, and member BOSPTU Jalandhar. He serves on various expert reviewer panel in the area of medical biotechnology and nanotechnology. PTU Jalandhar has given Best Teacher Award 2013 to him for his research contribution. He has published more than 160 scientific articles in recognized journal and authored one reference and two textbooks in the field of pharmaceutical and nanosciences. He has published more than 12 book chapters and more than 20 presentations at scientific conferences. His work is highly cited by various authors, especially for interpretation of results and methodology with citation index of 6,576. I repeat, 6,576, a huge number, with H index 47 and I10 index 135. Under his mentorship, 7 PhD students and 63 MPharm students have completed their research project. Professor Goel has 10 patents. Out of them, 3 patented technology has been transferred to government, national agency and reputed company. Professor Goel have received prestigious APTI Young Teacher Award 2017. He has been responsible for many research projects worth rupees around 2.1 crores funded by government organizations like DBT, PBSCT, CSIR and ICMR. Recently, Professor Goel has sanctioned BRICS proposal of approximately 3.2 crores for the development of nanostructured carrier system of delivery of antimicrobial along with BRICS countries. Actually, he has very lengthy CV, so please excuse me, Professor Goel, and I welcome Professor Goel to deliver his talk. So, Professor Goel, it's over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Uttam, for giving me this opportunity to say something about the work going on in the field of nanotechnology or in the field of nanomedicines. First of all, thank you for invitations and for a brief introduction about my candidatures. I am also thankful to head of the department and Dean of School of Pharmaceutical Science, MRSPTU, for giving me this opportunity. Now, because we are already late, so instead of just discussing about all those things, I would like to share my screen and start the presentations. Can you share my presentations?
Yes, sir, we are trying. Sir, once you start your presentation, automatically I think ours will be off.
I think I had already shared, but again I'll share it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now I think, is it visible to all?
Yes, sir, visible.
Okay. I'm audible to all?
Also audible, sir.
Yeah.
No issue.
Okay, thank you. So, but today I would like to give an overview on the role and importance of nanotechnology for the delivery of the drugs. Why I adopted this topic? Because the FDP program is conducted in the field of nanoparticles for therapeutic purpose. So that's why I'm thinking that I'll give my somehow the input on this field, and had work also on the field of nanotechnology for the delivery of drugs. So I don't know how many of you are aware of this nanotechnology. I think most of you, because you are the teacher, so I think you are aware of this nanotechnological word, but still I am initially discussing the term nanotechnology, how it come and what is the meaning, and step by step I'll go in detail about the application of nanotechnology in the field, some of the research work related to with me, I'll discuss with you in the later slide. So as far as this nanotechnology term is concerned, it is a creation of useful material device and system through the manipulation of material on the nanometer scales. And the nanometer scale generally comes below 1 micron. You can say the whole term is 1 nanometer. But as far as this nanotechnology or nanomedicine is concerned, generally we consider 1 to 100 nanometer size of the materials as a nanomaterials, and it has ability to design system with defined structure and the functions on a nanometric scale. So that is overview of the nanotechnology. And you can see in the figure also, like the virus and antibodies, they will come under this size. And there are some examples of nano devices. The carrier system is also given, like nanopore, dendrimer, nanotubes, quantum dots, nano seals. Apart from this liposomal system, nanoparticles, others are also there. Microemulsion system are also there, that will come under this nano carrier system, that we will discuss later also. So as far as the one thing which generally came in our mind, that what is the role of this nano carrier system. So I had summarized this thing in this 5 important category. Like the nano carrier system play a very important role in the reducing the frequency of the dosing. What generally do the nano carrier system for reducing the frequency of the dosing means that you can potentize your drug also, and you can selectively deliver your drug also. And by the use of some of the specific polymer, you can control the release of the material also. So by this way, it is possible to reduce the frequency of the dosing. Apart from this, the nanocarriers play a very important role for short half-life drug, because there are number of drugs having short half-life, and it's very challenging to deliver this drug for better therapeutic outcomes. And for all those things, what the nanocarrier system do, that you can encapsulate and trap the drug materials in the nanocarrier system, and you can channelize the pharmacokinetic based on the characteristics of the carrier system, instead of just, you can say, with the drug. Generally, we think that the pharmacokinetic, like ADME is basically followed this the nature of the drug, but the carrier system play very, very important role to regulate all those parameters. Apart from this, the nanocarrier system also have a very important role to manage the toxicity. Many times we know that the toxicity of the drug is very high. So if you want to control, like you have heard about some of the anti-cancer drug, antifungal drug that is available in the market based on this liposomal system, and that is also in the nano size, and they play very, very important role to reduce the overall systemic toxicity, hepatotoxicity, liver toxicity, nephrotoxicity, and some other toxicity of the drug. As far as other thing is concerned, that you are also able to target the drugs and carrier system, drugs to a particular site by the use of this nanocarrier. So overall the toxicity will be minimized. So this is the beauty of nanocarrier that is not possible with the conventional dosage form. Further, we know that there are a number of expensive drugs, like one of the things we all know that you can say antifungal drugs, amphotericin B, or you may talk about this anti-cancer drugs also, some proteaginous drugs also, monoclonal antibodies also. They are using, we are using these items as a therapeutic entities, and many times you will feel that they are very expensive, and when you will make a tablet, capsule, and different types of conventional dosage form, you may face one problem, that the bioavailability is less, and the overall output of the drug to a desired site is also very less. So these problems may be overcome by the use of the nanocarriers. You can utilize these nanocarriers for the expensive drug. So the overall cost of the product will be minimized also, because you need not to take a huge amount of drug for getting a minimum therapeutic concentration of the drug within the blood or the desired site. In the emergency treatment also, the nanocarrier system play a very important role, because they play a very important role for providing an instant release of the drug, as well as to a particular site also. So in this case, in emergency also, you can utilize this nano carrier system. And don't think that all types of nano carrier system do all those activity, because they have a specificity, and you can use one type of system for one particular thing. Other things will be, if you want like emergency treatment, and if you are thinking that if you will make a polymeric nanoparticle by using this PLJ, and you will think that it will be instantly release the drug molecule, it's not possible. So accordingly, you need to select the carrier system so that it will serve the purpose. So this is the one of the slide that I would like to share with you, that the role of nano carrier system. Now, this is a very good slide I got from the internet, and I think that many of you had already gone through this slide. But I think this is a very good picturizations where you can understand the importance of the nano scale or the nano carrier. In the one of the slide here, you will see that the size of the particle is very high, and when it moves from the ladder, the friction and the volume. Any issue? Any problem? You can mute your mic. The participant, mute your mic. Okay, so this will play very important role, and you can see here if the size is very high, the friction and sticking kind of thing you will not see with this bigger size particle, and it will be easily roll on the ladder. But when we talk about this nanoscale material, you will see that the ladder frictions, ladder quality, the type of materials, stiffness, and all those many types of property play very important role. And just this thing just having because of their large surface area. So it shows that by miniaturizing the materials in a nano size and increasing the surface area changes a huge changes in the physical, chemical, and other property of the material. So this is the beauty of nanotechnology, and I would like to share some of the nanomaterial property that generally change when you will miniaturize the materials. Like in the bulk material property, you will see that the physical form, the particle form a large group of insoluble materials, particles. But when you will convert in a nanomaterials, the particle form a group of ions, atoms, and molecule. So automatically, this insoluble material may be converted in a soluble form also. So this kind of drastic changes may occur just by changing the size and shape of the materials. Like surface area, the particle can be easily seen from the naked eye. However, in the case of surface area, you need to use this microscope for seeing the particles, and the surface area is enormously many times it is increased. So this thing generally happen. The diffusion property will change because of the increasing the surface area. The diffusion property will change. The sedimentations property will change. The particle will not easily settle down when it will be converted in nano form. Similarly, the optical properties change. Nanoparticle optically more sensitive, and you had heard about this gold nanoparticle, you had heard about this silver nanoparticles, and their properties completely change. Their absorbance value, their wavelength maxima is also completely changed. So it clearly indicated that the optical properties somehow change when you will convert in a nano form. Electrical property, physical property, melting point, all those properties change when you will convert the bulk material in nano material. So you can understand the importance of converting the nano materials. And I'll also share some of this slide where we'll discuss about the application of nanomaterial, so you will understand how the things are going on. So in this slide, I would like to share some of the basic things like the classifications of nanomaterials. So nanomaterial you can classify as per in 3 category: the single dimensional, 2 dimensional nanomaterial.
तो उसके नाम से बोलो।
वो आता होगा नाच, वो समझता होगा नाच गया होना।
ये वाला लड़का
Hello, please mute your mic. So this is the one of the criteria for classifications of the nanomaterial. Apart from this, you can classify the nanomaterial based on the morphology. Morphology like aspected ratio, and the expected ratio is the particle long axis length to particle diameter. On that basis, high expected ratio and the small expected ratio. By this way, you can classify these nanomaterials. In high expected ratio, these nanotubes, nanowires, and other material will come. And in small expected ratio, like this liposomal system, a spherical oval kind of nanoparticle system, that will come. Similarly, you can classify nanomaterial based on composition, based on their micrometric behavior, and other also you can classify the nanomaterial. Now I'll discuss another thing that I mentioned in my the importance of nanotechnology, and I'll give this overview. I had recently taken, and you can see here the role of this nanotechnology for delivery of drug material. Apart from delivery of the drug materials, you can use this in electronic, energy, defense, environment, and different areas also. But as far as we are the pharmacy persons, so we may restrict ourselves to medicines only. And you can see here that the application of these nanomaterials as antimicrobials, antipathogen, mosquiticidal uses are there. Cosmetic and medical appliances are also use this nanotechnology. Photoimaging, photothermal therapy, magnetic responsive therapy, cancer therapies, and many ways this nanocarriers or nanotechnology is useful and exciting. Another here the importance of nanotech. You can see the number of products from 2005 to 2015. It's huge changes in the development of the product. Around more than 1,500 product is available in the market based on this, and I think in 2020 more than 5,000 and 10,000 product is already available. So day by day, the utility and the importance of nanotechnology and nanocarriers is increasing, and actually it has potential also. And basically these are the area where this nanotechnology product is available in the market, like anti-caking, miniaturizing, hardness, health appliances, cosmetics, environment treatment, coating, antimicrobial protections, where it is enormously used. So this is for your understanding how this nanotechnology works. And nanotechnology, you can say it's very, very small. So when you will deliver to the body, it will be easily reach to your body, and it will be easily escape from your body. So you have to control the fate of this nanomaterial inside your body also. That is also very important. And if it is very big, it will be not easily go inside your body, and it will be not easily released from your body. That is harmful and not cost effective also. So the nanotechnology means that nanotechnology have advantage also, but regularization of the characteristic of the nanoparticle, nanocarrier system is also very important. And it will be, this thing you will understand when you will work in this field. That thing we had already discussed. This is in generally having in a nano size, so you can easily travel these nanocarriers to the cell also, because it's very challenging to deliver the molecules within the cells. We can deliver to the tissues and the organ, but within the cell, where you will get the therapeutic response is very challenging. So that's why the nano carrier is very, very important. Now you can use this nano carrier. This is just an imaginary photo where you can understand that when you deliver the nano carrier, precisely you can deliver to a site selective area. However, when you will imagine this thing, you can utilize this nano carrier and easily imagine. In the physical examination and symptom also, you can utilize this nano carrier system. So this is the importance, you can say, the applications are nano carrier system in a human body. This is the another very good picture I had got through the internet search, and you'll see here that the nano carrier can preserve the patient sample. Like when we are doing the diagnostic test, and if you are utilizing this nanotechnology concept, like when you will coat with gold and other kind of particle, and when you will use some other nanomaterials for the sample preservations also, you can see here through the picture that when you will do this through the traditional test method, generally with the time the cell degraded, their structure will altered. However, when use this nanotechnology, they will stay healthy for the longer period of time. So this thing is very, very useful for preservation of the materials also. And you can see here when you use this nano carriers, one of the example is given here for the cancer test. You will get a very accurate result, faster result, efficient result, validated result through this nanotechnological approach. The number of probes and quantum dots and fluorescence materials are coming up with this nano carriers for utilizing for this purpose, for the diagnosis purpose. Right now, the number of things is coming also for this COVID-19 detections also. So this is the overview of different types of carrier system, nanotechnology based, that can be utilized for the delivery of therapeutics. You can say the nanoparticulate system, vesicular system, and miscellaneous categories also there. In particulate, like polymeric system, coated polymeric system, ligand coated particle system, silver particles, gold particles, that will come. And vesicular system like micellar, liposomal, niasomal, novosomes, and other system will come. Miscellaneous like dendrimer, cyclodextrin, nanoassemblies, nanofibers will come. So now I'll discuss some of the applications of nanotechnology where I had worked. One of the area is the delivery of the anti-cancer drug for better therapeutic outcomes, where I had worked a lot. So we think that when we'll deliver this nano carriers loaded this anti-cancer drug, it generally delivers nano carrier to the cancer cells only. So the effect on the normal cells will be automatically minimized, and other normal cell will be healthy. However, the cancer cells may die. So this is the beauty of, you can say, the nano carrier. Here you can easily see that this is the traditional treatment where we are giving the drug, the toxin materials to the cancer cells. So the cancer cell will die. However, it will give an effect on the normal, this green cell. So this generally happen when we'll deliver through the traditional method. You can see the both type of cell, non-cancerous and cancerous cells, having an effect, and that's why we are getting a huge amount of side effect when we are delivering this through the traditional method. But when we use this nanotechnology, the beauty of nanotechnology is that I would like to, I'm not saying that the 100% drug delivered to the cancer site only, but most of the, you can increase the overall viability of the drug to the cancer cells when you use this nanotechnology, and their effect to the normal cells will be less or minimized. So the overall, the non-cancer cells will be healthy, and it will affect the only cancer cells, because you can see in the cancer patient that cancer patients who is taking this chemotherapeutic therapy generally face a lot of side effects, like their hair will fall, their diet will be disturbed, and many types of side effect you can see with this cancer patient. So that thing might be minimized by the use of this nanotechnology. A lot of things is already going on, and this is the other example that using this nano carrier system, not only you can deliver to the cancer cells, but you can utilize some this photodynamic kind of concept also, so that it will be selectively delivered to the cancer site, and you can selectively emit the light to the particular area, so that only the cancer cell will be died, however other cell will be intact. So this is the one of the concept of phototherapy, that photodynamic therapy you can say, that is also utilized to treat this cancer. Now this is the some of the things which we had done. We had prepared this PLGA nanoparticles, and we had conjugated this PLGA nanoparticle with Herceptin monoclonal antibodies, and we had, for this purpose, we had made 3 types of PLGA nanoparticle: PLGA plain, PLGA PG nanoparticle, and PLGA PG immunonanoparticle. You can see that their size is very less, around 150, and dispersity, zeta potential, and entrapment efficiency is also very good. And some of the confocal image we here share with you on MCF7 breast cancer cell line, and you can see that the effect of this immunonanoparticle is comparatively very good, and destruction is very high compared to other system. So it means that apart from making just a nanoparticle, if you add some ligand for attaching to a particular receptor, the selectivity will be increased, and the efficacy will be also increased. We had also performed some ex vivo viability studies using this PLGA, different types of PLGA particle, and you can see the result that the viability of this system is very high compared to the plain drug. So this is the beauty of the system, that we had also seen this thing with some of the slides from the net also, that where they had visualized that when you will target the cancer cells, whether it is effective or not, you can see through this slide. Target work to tumor cells. You can see here through the intensity, when you will deliver through the nano, the potential of the system will increase. However, when you non-target the device, their efficacy is not too much, or not comparatively with the nano device which is targeted. So the similar thing you can see here with the other cells, that when you deliver whole the system, the targeted and non-targeted both are not affected to the normal cells. However, they are affected to tumor cells. So this is the beauty, that when you deliver through the ligand and the target, their efficacy will be enormously increased. So apart from just making a nanoparticle, in some of the cases, targeting with some specific receptors and some specific ligand, it's also a better approach for regressing this tumor size and getting a very good therapeutic efficacy. So this is the example that the quantum dots has been also given by just attaching with some monoclonal antibodies, and you can see there it will be selectively located to a particular tumor site also. So that is the beauty of, you can say, the nanoparticles with targeting moiety to selectively taken up by the site where the tumor is present. Now, I would like to share another applications of nanotechnology in the field of vaccines. Here we had made a liposomal system, and you can see that when we'll make a simple cationic liposomal system, that will reach to the nucleus and deliver their content. However, when you will make a different ligand coated kind of liposomal system, there effectivity and selectivity will be increased. That is the another applications of attaching some ligand over the surface of the carrier system. And you can see here that when this mannan-coated and mannan-coated PS sensitive cationic liposomal system, when we had made, the property is enormously changed. I think you had seen all those things in this scheme, animated scheme. But before going to next slide, I would like to discuss this part in detail with you. That some of you may know about this cationic liposome, and I would like to brief about this system. That generally, when we talk about this nucleic acid material, we say that they are macromolecule and their structure and overall molecular weight is very high. So when you will deliver directly to the cell, their uptake and bioavailability is very less, because our motto is to deliver these kind of biomolecules and nucleic acid material inside the nucleus, because when this nucleic acid material reaches to the nucleus of the cell, then only they will give their effects or therapeutic potential or some kind of things. So what generally happen, the plain one will not effective. So we can use some kind of nanocarrier system for the delivery of these types of genetic materials. So one of the carrier system I had used here, that is liposomal system. And when you talk about this plain liposomal system, the entrapment efficiency is less, and one more problem we had faced, that their bioavailability or uptake within the cell is also very less. So starting out this problem, we had made this cationic liposomal system. So because of this ionic interaction, because the nucleic acid is highly negative charge and this cationic liposomal system is highly positive charge. So because of this ionic interactions, they condense the structure of this nucleic acid material and encapsulate within their cavity. So overall condensed nanometric particle you will easily get by use of this cationic charge. But what happens when you use this plain cationic system, the bioavailability and the selectively reaching to the nucleus is very limited, because you had heard about this endosomal and phagocytic process. So under this process, some of the material may destroy and degrade it also. But when you will do this thing with the mannan-coated and mannan-coated PS sensitive liposomal system, their uptake to the nucleus is enormously increased, and the liposomal degradation is less, and escape from the endosomes is high, specifically in the case of PS sensitive cationic liposomal system. Why we had made this PS sensitive cationic liposomal system? Because Menon work for specifically targeting to the receptor, to the specific receptor, because we had made a vaccine, so we want that this material reach to the dendritic cells or to APC cells, macrophage cells. So that's why we had added the Menon. And the addition of this pH sensitive material here is that it will buffer the system and easily bypass the system from the endosomal endosomes and escape endosomes and release the materials to the cytosols, and selectively its uptake within the nucleus will be increased. So this is the overall motto of making these different types of system, and for the comparison purpose also. And you can see these all those things in the next upcoming slide, that this is the plasmid which we had used to make the different vaccines system, and we had made this for generating the expression of MSP119 malaria antigenic materials. And we had used this liposomal process to make this plasmid loaded liposomes, where we use this DRV method, dehydrated rehydrated vesicle method, to make this plasmid loaded liposome. I'll not go in detail about this process, because I think some of the speaker had already talked on this specific different types of carrier systems, so I don't need to go in detail. This is the atomic force microscopy of the liposomal system, and they are in nano size. This is the biospectral imaging photomicrograph, and where you can see that when we'll deliver this thing with the PS sensitive menin coated liposomal system, their uptake is very high because we are using the menin as a targeting ligand, and we had made PS sensitive also, so they are easily bypass this endosomal escape also. We had also performed the FACS flow cytometric assay, and you can see here after incubations and delivery through this system, the uptake of this menin coated PS sensitive liposomal is enormously increased. You can easily see this thing in the figure here, that this menin coated cationic liposomal uptake is very high compared to other. So you can see this thing, and you can experiment this thing just by making the different approaches for different purposes also. We had also utilized this nanotechnology for non-invasive purpose, and you can utilize this nanotechnology for the delivery of materials to conjunctiva or ocular site, mucosal, oral mucosal site, rectal site, vaginal site, pulmonary site, and nasal site. And many of these non-mucosal site, we had utilized this nanotechnology. But today I'll share some of the things related to the pulmonary and this vaginal site. So firstly, I'll discuss this. We had made this nanoparticles and delivered to the vagina for pre-exposure prophylaxis of sexual HIV transmission. For this purpose, we had made a carrier system. So what we had done here, for this purpose, we had delivered this nanoparticle in mucoadhesive gel. So what is the purpose of delivering the materials through this mucoadhesive gel? Because mucoadhesive gel attached with this mucosal lining of the vagina, so automatically it will hamper and work as a barrier for delivery of this HIV and other UTI infections. And one more thing that we had done apart from this, just by delivering the just by adding the mucoadhesive gel, we had made a nano carrier system also. So through this mucoadhesive gel intrab nano carriers, will easily bypass this barriers, mucosal membrane barriers, and reaches to the host cell where the infection is present, and selectively target to the host cells and inhibit their attachment with the host cells. Like in the case of HIV, you know that it attaches to the CD4 cells. So first of all, it will be blocked at the surface, and whenever if it escapes from the surface and reaches to the host cells, this nanoparticle which we had encapsulated in the gel also may provide a kind of protection and inhibit this viral attachment. So this is the type of concept which we had made, and already published. So these are the results of those studies which we had done. And in this case, we had made this silver nanoparticle and copper curcumin conjugated silver nanoparticle, one of the objective of our this concept. And it is in nano form, and you can see here directly through the TAM and SEM AFM images that, and this particle size analyzers results also showing that they are in nano size. And we had performed some P24 antigen ELISA assay that is specific for HIV to see the effect and efficacy of the different types of carrier system and the formulation. And you can see here, there's the positive sex, and when we had incubated with the silver nanoparticle plane, the regression is there. However, when we conjugated and delivered with silver nanoparticle using this copper curcumin, the innovation rate is 89%, and when we'll make a formulation and delivered it, the innovation is very high, because here we are using the Carbapol 934 mucoadhesive based system. This is the overall formulation where we had performed this P24 antigen assay and got very good result. We had already published this thing in ACS Advances. Now, I'll also discuss another applications of this nanotechnology in the field of pulmonary drug delivery system, and it will enhance the overall localizations of the drug within the lungs. The nanocarrier system distributed very efficiently the drugs to the lungs, and through the use of this nanocarrier system, you can harbor the drugs to a specific part of the lung, specifically the bronchial site and the alveolar site. And this will be possible just by the use of this nanocarrier system. And if you want to reduce the dose, and if you want to control the release of the medicament also, that is possible by the use of nanocarrier system for pulmonary drug targeting and pulmonary drug delivery purpose also. So overall absorptions and the overall efficacy will be improved by the use of nanocarrier system. So this thing I had already discussed with you during discussion. This is the beauty of nanocarrier system, and for this purpose we had used this spray drying technique to make nanoparticles. And why we had used this spray drying technique? Because we want to make a DPI kind of system, dry powder inhaler type of system. So the spray drying is the one of the good technique. And we had also developed one innovative thing, because when we are using the conventional spray dryer from the supplier, we are facing a lot of problem for the collections of nanoparticle in the cyclone. You can easily get a huge yield with high density molecules when you will spray it, or the larger size particle. But when you talk about nano, automatically the density is decreased. We had already discussed in bulk and nano property. So when it will be sucked through the cyclone, all the material generally goes to the aspirator. So the overall yield is decreased. So for this purpose, we had designed a new kind of instrument also. I'll discuss later slide also. Here I'll discuss the drug delivery system which we had made. This spray drying technique we had used to make nanoparticle. We had made this chitosan alginate nanoparticle, and you can see here the powder which we get through this spray drying technique. And we had checked their efficacy also of powder discharge efficiency through the available instrument, and we see that through this instrument you can get a qualitative performance of your carrier system within the lungs cavity, that where it will reach. And we had seen that this chitosan alginate based nanoparticle shows better uptake to this site, alveolar site, compared to the other types of system. We had made multiple types of nanocarrier system, and we had also performed this lung uptake studies of different types of formulation, and we studied through this confocal microscopy. And you can see here that the uptake you can easily observe in the lung side. We had also performed gamma scintigraphy studies of different formulation, and you can see here the material, spray dried material, liposomal, and this alginate based materials is you can easily visualize in the lung side. Similarly, you can here also see that it stick and easily their uptake to this lung site is enormously increased just by making a nanocarrier system. So this is the beauty of this thing, that when we deliver this, when we deliver the antigenic material with this type of system, we also got a significant immunological response, and we had also determined the different types of cytokine profile, and we had seen that it increases the huge amount of CTL dependent cytokine, and that is generally required when you want to prepare the formulation specifically for tuberculosis. We have taken the tubercular antigen for treating this tuberculosis by using this nanocarrier based approach. So this is the thing you will get, we got by making this pulmonary delivery system. Now I'll discuss some of the things which we had developed, because there are a number of things we can disturb, but the time is also limited, so we can't discuss too much about the science. But I just want to give an overview that the nanotechnology has ample use and the opportunity. You have a huge opportunity to work on this nano, and not only you can work on nano and you can publish a good paper, but still you have opportunity to market also, commercialize also. And we had also tried something, and the things are already in the pipeline. You can see some of the things that we had made this ultra thin nanofibrous patch for oral insulin delivery, and here we had made a nanofibrous patch. And when we'll deliver this insulin, the insulin bioavailability is enormously increased, and we had assigned this technology to National Research Development Corporation. This is the government agency, and we had already filed the patent, and this is already granted also. So this thing which we had made using this nanotechnology, and that thing is already published in the cover page of this Nano Digest Journal. You can see here in the month of 2015 they had published in the cover page, and writing this, the patching the diabetic problem just by making this nano patch. And we had, we are in the some of the work which is pending, and will definitely within 1 year and 2 years we'll try to do some clinical trials of our develop this nano patch, because it has a potential, and we had made this sublingual nanofibrous patch for the delivery of the insulin, and it will solve a lot of problem with the existing approaches, because generally we need to take through the injection, and it is very painful process. So this is a non-invasive approach which we had adopted, so automatically it is huge benefits for the mass community. Another thing which we had done, the ocular nanofibrous patch for glaucoma, and here we had made a solid nanofibrous patch, and you can see that with their very limited product available in the market in solid form for ocular delivery. The number of liquid doses form available for ocular delivery, ocular formulations, and some semi-solid formulation is also available, but only the Ocu insert is available for this purpose. Nothing is having in nano form. So we had proposed this, and this work is highly cited, and we had transferred this technology to this one of the company, Monism Healthcare, through this NRDC. And this patent is already granted also, awarded also. So this is the things which we are doing, and because the one of the beauty of this nanofibrous patch is that they are very small and the surface is very high, and the efficiency and the yield of the formulation is also very high. So that's why we had used this and delivered to the ocular side, and because they are very thin, so it not create any kind of discomfortness to the eyesight also. So this was the purpose of making this thing, and we got succeed also to make successfully this thing to transfer to the company also. So this is the response which we got when we made this nanofibrous patch. We already filed and granted also that thing. We had published this paper in European Journal of Pharmaceutical Times, and we see one of the very good thing that more than 1,000 times it was downloaded within a 6 months. So this thing happened, and we had already discussed with Alcon Novartis company, California, USA. We are in touch with this company right now also, because they want some upgraded form of this nanofiber patch instead of just which we had worked. So we are working on this, and definitely will in the future will deliver something to this company also. So this is the things which is going on in the field of nano. And I had discussed this thing also during the discussion of this spray dryer based nanotechnology. So what we had done, we are facing this problem, and to sort out this problem, we made this type of system. You can see this, it is looking like a cascade impactor. If you had heard and seen this thing. So here we had made this thing, and we had already patented this item and granted also. And what we had done in this particle fluxinator, we had the different size of sieves we had placed between the different chamber, and we attached this to directly to the main unit of the spreader, and we had removed the cyclones from the attachment. So what generally happened when we had done this thing, the yield is improved and the particle is segregated, means that the different size of the particle you will get in different knobs of this attachment, which is attached with this particle separator. And one of the beauty of this system which we had made, that you had heard about that during the spray dryer process you are not able to analyze the product. So the things which we had made during this spray drying process only, you are able to collect the materials. You need not to stop this spray dryer to collect the materials, and continuously at a different time interval you can analyze the resultant product. So this is the beauty of the invention which we had made and transferred also the company. So this is the overview of the things which is going on in my lab, and thank you and best of luck to all of you. So this is the message: the enjoy the little thing in the life, for one day you may look back and realize they were the big. Okay, thank you. If you have any queries, you can ask.
Thank you, Professor Amit Goel. Thanks for your informative and insightful lecture. I have thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You have very lucidly described very basic as well as advanced information about the drug targeting, vaccine delivery, and also some novel career. I hope and I'm very sure that our diverse group of participants, which include PG students, PhD scholars, as well as faculty members, will have a lot of take-home message. And I personally wish you all the best to your research career, sir.
Thank you, sir. If you have any queries and you are not able,
with your permission, I would like to raise some of the queries from our participants.
You can mail me also. My mail ID is amit.goel@curas.ac.in. So you
Yes,
can mail me
sir.
also for any type of query or any kind of suggestions also in future. If you want to do something and if you want a kind of guidance which is available with me, definitely I'll help
No,
you.
sir. I will put in the chat box your email ID as well as in our WhatsApp group, so participants can directly contact you.
Okay, thank you.
And sir, one question from Vavesh Sinha. He is asking, what ensures that the nanoparticle attack only cancerous cells, not normal cells? So targeting, he is asking about how we can be very sure.
The number of diagnostic techniques are there that you need to use to ensure that the particle is specifically going to the particular cancer site, not going to the normal cells. Like for doing in the animal, we are using these animal images, and for selectively seeing that whether it is going to the normal cells or not, you can take the tissue sample also and do some biopsy and confocal studies also. And some gamma scintigraphy and other studies, other instruments are also available that you can use to identify whether your system is working properly or not.
Okay, thank you. And if you are hearing, I think you have got your answer. And then we have a question from Shivani. She is asking, it seems that nanotechnology is moving very fast. Is there a risk that result of safety and testing will be outdated as soon as printed? How to keep up pace? So meaning
Yeah.
that she is asking about the safety aspect of this nanotechnology.
Thank you, Savani, and you had raised a very good questions. And recently, if you look at the, you can say, in the website, and when you will search just the guideline, safety guideline for the nano carrier system, you will get that the DVT has recently issued one safety toxicity guideline related to the nanotechnological based product. And this guideline is very helpful not only for us, and this guideline is also very helpful for DCGI, because their number of products are still pending just because this guideline is not available. So right now this guideline is available, and you can also utilize this for making some toxicological and other consequences of nano carrier system. And definitely you had raised a very good question, because I had also seen that the nano carrier system have advantage, but they have some disadvantage also. Like in the first slide, I had shown you that it is reaching very fast to the body and escaping very fast to the body. So this thing is generally happen, and it contaminate to the environment also. So that's why it's a very important issue to consider the benefits and this kind of side effect of this nanotechnological approach also.
Yes, sir, you're very true. The one question from Anish Pradhan. He's
Yeah.
asking, can we use an active carrier to incorporate drug, and will that have a synergistic effect?
Definitely. Like you can attach these monoclonal antibodies over the surface of this nanocarrier system. So it will work as an active, because it will be target to a particular receptor. And when it target to a particular receptor, it will synergize the effect, because the monoclonal antibodies, like when you will deliver the anti-cancer drug and use these monoclonal antibodies specific to this cancer site, like we had used this Herceptin, this antibody itself regress the cancer, and the encapsulated material give their effect. So you can synergize the effect.
Okay. Sir, one question from Dr. Bappaditya. He is asking about loading biologics into liposomes. What are the major challenges? Is it stability?
Yes, definitely you can say the loading biological in the liposomal system you can load, but not only with this biological, all the types of hydrophilic drug, if you talk about, in all hydrophilic drug, the loading efficiency or encapsulation efficiency within the liposomal system is less. So one of the things you can do, that you can change the method of manufacturing of liposomal system, and we had used this cationic type of just by changing the composition of the liposomal system also, you can increase the loading efficacy of the drug. Apart from this, you can also change the type of PC, because the number of phospholipids are there, saturated, unsaturated, and different types of phospholipids are also there, and their compositions also. Just by optimizing all those process and formulation parameter, definitely you can improve the viability of the encapsulation efficiency of the drug within the liposomal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, one interesting question from Shivani Panu again. She needs some information, like what are some of the most interesting nanoparticles found in nature that are not manufactured in the lab?
That thing we had already mentioned in the initial slide, that the antibodies that is available in our body also, this another material, these enzymes, another biomolecules that is available in our site body, that all are in nano size. And one of the expulsions within the environment, like pollutions which will daily we are inhaling also in the nano form, that we are, you can give us some of the example that is already available in the nature also.
Yes, sir. Sir, one question from Mohit. He is very concerned about the toxicity aspect of nanotube. So he is asking, how can we mitigate it, the toxicity of nanotubes? If you could.
If you talk about this nanotube, definitely you can mitigate. For the mitigations of this toxicity of nanotube, I would like to mention that we had seen that if you will make from the carbon, their degradation rate within the body is very less, very slow. है ना? So if you will change the material like biodegradable kind of material, if you will use instead of just biocompatible, if you use these biodegradable materials, definitely you can reduce the toxicity. Like
So
if you
meaning
talk,
that-
if you talk about this carbon, they retain for longer period of time within the lungs and other parts of the body. So if you want to minimize, you need to select a particular materials which is degraded in the body.
Yes, sir. So meaning that he needs to change the composition of the system.
Yeah.
That means
Yeah.
nano carrier.
Yeah.
One question from Karthik and Raju. He is asking, protease inhibitors are capsulated in liposome for effective drug delivery. That means he is asking whether we can.
Yeah,
incorporate-
definitely you can encapsulate the protease, but not the lipase. Because if you use the lipase, it will degrade the lipid. But protease you can encapsulate, but you can't encapsulate with the protein molecules. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, the last question, I think, how to stabilize gold nanoparticles synthesized from plant extracts?
For this purpose, the number of strategies are there. Some of the persons are using this plant materials like tannic acid materials. They are using. Some are using the sugar materials to stabilize this gold nanoparticle. But still, it's challenging. But it is stabilized, and you can also use some this polymeric low viscosity polymeric material also to increase the stability of this gold material, gold sensitized nanoparticles. Anything else?
So meaning that it's a lot of research in this field, and isn't it?
It is better that if
Most
you
of the
have
questions.
yeah, so you can send me, and definitely I love to
Sure,
give
sir. Sure, sir. Sir, just one thing, as a token of appreciation from our side, we have small this certificate for you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for being associated with us in this FDP program, in spite of your busy schedules. And I wish to get your same support in future also. Thank you so much.
Definitely, sir. Thank you.